Let me ask you
Why
this on the spot question. What's your biggest concern about the Bears offense right now if we're assuming Caleb Williams is on it?
It's got to be left tackle because I don't know how much. Yes, because I don't know how much whether or not Ryan Poles believes in Braxton Jones. But when I listen to a guy like Corey Wooten, when I listen to a guy like Steve Edwards, who we're friendly with, we've had him on a few times. When I talk to people that really understand offensive line play better than I do, like for fans, we're sitting there going, well, Braxton's good, check. But like, how much does he have left on his deal, right? He's got one more year, and then you have to pay him. Left tackles get paid a lot of money. Would you consider Braxton Jones a top 10 left tackle? I don't know the answer to that.
No, he's not top 10.
So you're saying no. But do you think that he's going to demand big money if he's a left tackle on the market? Because everybody just thinks, team-friendly deal. Left tackles
wait a minute. Why are we getting so ahead of ourselves? He's only been in the league for 2 years.
Because at some point, right, so next year he's got 1 year left on his deal. So just like the quarterback position, at some point you have to make a decision on whether or not you're going to pay a guy. And if you have an opportunity to draft one at 9 and reset the left tackle clock, that's no different than quarterback or wide receiver. You've got to be thinking 2 steps ahead for your organization and your personnel. So my biggest question for the offense is, do they think that Braxton Jones is your left tackle for the future? And if he's not, then you do have to strongly consider taking one at 9.
See, I think you're thinking about this a year too far in advance. This is the equivalent to where Justin Fields was last year. Well, so it's like, okay, we're starting about the clock. We're talking about the clock too early when it really should just be about who's the best player.
But how many
you
more
need
times?
To see more? Do you need to see more out of him before you? So.
But how many more times are you going to have a top 10 pick? Ideally, you're not picking in the top 10 ever again, right? Well, this is your last. I mean, you have to
until Poles fleeces the next team. That's
okay.
True.
I mean, but I'm just saying you have to operate that you won't have this opportunity again, because if you do have this opportunity again, it means more than likely you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I would argue though that finding left tackles out on the open market, while it doesn't happen a lot, it is easier to do than finding a quarterback out there.
Hey, nobody wants Rome Odunze more than I do. I know we all do as Bears fans, but at the end of the day, I mean, just like last year where people were like, hey, take Jalen Carter. No, he took Darnell Wright. This year, everybody say, take Rome Odunze, take Malik Neighbors. He might take a tackle. I mean, it's not off the board for me at all.
I still look at center as being the one position on this team where I'm still a little hesitant about. I know they bring in Coleman Shelton, Ryan Bates, whoever wins that. I think Shelton's got the lead on him, but the 34 quarterback pressures allowed, man, that was tied for first in the league. And we saw how pivotal that the center can be in disrupting a quarterback's process, his comfortability in the pocket. Imagine all the times Justin Fields had pressure up the A-gap, whether it was Lucas Patrick, Dan Feeney, Sam Must for a time, whoever. It just wasn't a good situation to be in. So I just still look at that center position, just not knowing if the Bears truly have the guy that they are really comfortable with. Maybe for 2024, they can get by with it, but still, I'm looking at center as the biggest need for this offense right now.
And, yeah, for me, it's the interior offensive line. I understand that Braxton's not elite, but I'm still comfortable with him there. I'd be surprised if they went left tackle. That feels like a luxury at this point as they continue to build it. And I don't, you're not going to draft an interior offensive lineman if they stay at 9, but maybe if they drop down,
trade back, then Jackson Powers Johnson.
Something like that, I suppose, is possible. And Hoge, do you have information on the interior line as far as what they plan on doing with Sheldon versus Bates?
My indication right now is I believe that as the roster stands right now, they can still draft a center potentially and then changes it. But if you're asking me who do I think is the starting center between Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton, I think it's Ryan Bates.
Oh, okay.
I think his contract's higher. There's more money invested in him. We know about the history going back 2 years about Ryan Poles liking Ryan Bates. Honestly, I watched some of the tape. I think he's the better player, even though the Shelton has the reps advantage in terms of the experience, I still think that the moves that they made here, Ryan Bates will be the center. I'd like to go back to my original question that I just asked you guys, though, because you all failed. None of you listened to the question. I didn't ask you
biggest concern.
I didn't
on
ask you
offense.
what the biggest need was. I didn't ask you about positions. I said, what's your biggest concern about the offense? To me, the answer is unquestionably coaching. We don't know anything about Shane Waldron yet.
I was thinking about that.
You're
I was going to say that.
We don't. We go through this every 2 years. It seems like with the new offensive coordinator. Oh, the new guys in, everything's going to be better, and then it's not. And I don't mean to put that on with Shane Waldron. We don't know.
It's the truth.
And I think he will be an upgrade. But until we see the offense, till we see the scheme, till we see it all put together, it's a major leap of faith that honestly Bears fans should know better, that it's all going to work out. And I'm not trying to be negative about that. I'm just saying we don't. To me, that's my biggest question.
Yep.
That to me, it's a bigger question than can Braxton Jones be the cornerstone left tackle. I don't know if he can be, but I think he's solid enough to get by. I think they now have enough weapons on offense to get by, and you already know how I feel about the rookie quarterback that's presumably coming in. What I don't know right now at this point, and who was the guest we had on from Seattle that kind of really put some cold water on Shane Waldron?
Rangenbrugger. He was awesome.
A little bit. And then we had another guy, the athletic writer, on Hogan Johns, the same thing.
Yep.
It was kind of a different perspective leaving Seattle. We had the Jackson Smith and Jigba interview at and then meanwhile we had Gerald Everett come in here last week and just rave about the guy.
Yep.
And how awesome he is. So I think it's going to work out. I still think it's a good hire, but in terms of the questions I have, that's the thing I don't know the most enough about right now.
And it's a great point. And it's not just about whether or not the scheme will work out. They also have a bigger task, which is to develop the quarterback.
Yep.
And so, that you're twofold here. And they brought in a lot of different guys, right? Passing game coordinator.
Thomas Brown.
Exactly. Yeah. You got Kerry Joseph. You got Shane Waldron. You got the quarterback they brought in. What? Ryan Griffin, right? Is that who they brought in?
Brett Rippon.
Brett
He's
Rippon.
about the coach that they hired.
Ryan Griffin.
Who apparently isn't even joining the team until June, by the way.
Right, because he's here for one reason, and that's to walk Caleb through things here when we get to camp. So, that's good. You've brought it in, a nice circle of coaches, and everybody's going to have their job to do their due diligence with this guy. But yeah, from scheme to development, a lot of questions still on the table if they're going to actually be able to pull this off. But yeah, we always want to live on the side of optimism until we're given a reason not to, as Bears fans typically.
Yeah, good point.
I did not have teeing up the coaching issue as something on my docket today, but it is a fair thing to underline, Adam Hoge. I'm still worried about the middle of that line. Let's not forget that the next time that Tevin Jenkins makes it through a season fully healthy will be the first time. Let's not forget that Nate Davis had a weird year, and he had some games where he looked good and some where it was the complete opposite. And then we're now have two centers that are brand new to the team. So all of that is interesting and confusing and concerning, but hopefully we'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the question was specifically positional need, I'm still, how I feel about center, and you know how I feel just how big of a need that they just need to really find that guy. And I'm skeptical that Ryan Bates is that long-term guy. I hope he's an upgrade though, at least in 2024.
We all silly like the mayor.